Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's a brand new deck profile for all of you. This time it's on Red Eyes. Now, I actually just made a post on the community page, or community tab of my channel rather, explaining that Red Eyes actually has a lot of nostalgic value for me, especially in my childhood days, because the very first starter deck I remember ever picking up as a kid was the Joey Wheeler starter deck, simply because I loved Red Eyes Black Dragon. Now, my first structure deck was actually Dragon's Lair. As y'all might know, that was the structure deck that had Red Eyes Black Dragon and Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. And honestly, to me, that was probably the deck that kind of got me into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! But it wasn't really my first competitive deck. So, like, it's kind of weird in that sense. But ever since then, I've always had a heart for Red Eyes. I love Blue Eyes. I honestly prefer to play Blue Eyes over Red Eyes. But still, like I said, Red Eyes just has a lot of nostalgic value for me. And plus, like, I was a huge fan of Joey Wheeler back in the day, so I figured I'd just finally get a chance to build this deck now that it's significantly cheaper. Now, some of the cards are still pretty pricey, so I would recommend you guys picking up the core if you plan on playing Red Eyes. This is not like the most competitive deck or anything like that. It's more of a fun, casual deck, but I did try to make it as competitive as possible in case I happen to decide to play this in locals or something, or at least until we're out of this quarantine. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go and get started. So, starting off with the main deck, I'm playing 3 copies of the original Red Eyes Black Dragon. I'm actually playing the colored Ultras from Legendary Duelist Season 1. Well, with the exception of this one right here. This is actually the Ultra Rare from the Legendary decks. I'm expecting a green Red Eyes in the mail, hopefully by today. But if not, I'm just glad I had a spare one of the same artwork. So, yeah, it makes no difference. Next up, 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon. So this card is insanely broken in this deck. So as long as it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand, and this is not once per turn. And of course, the only card you're not allowed to pick up is Red Eyes Black Check, but no one even runs that anyway. And what's also great about this is that it gives your monsters a 600 attack point boost, so it's pretty neat. Next up, 2 copies of Red Eyes Alternative Black Dragon. I was tempted to run 3, but I didn't feel like it was needed. But you generally get to tribute a Red Eyes from your hand or on the field to special summon this card. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 level 7 Red Eyes monster in your graveyard except itself. Special summon it, and if it's a normal monster like the original Red Eyes Black Dragon, well, actually, it has to be Red Eyes Black Dragon if you want to do this effect, but its attack points get doubled, so it's really good. So, like, if you want to basically OTK your opponent, bring back the original Red Eyes back from the grave with this card's effect, it becomes a 4800 beat stick. Next, 2 copies of Red Eyes Baby Dragon. Not too bad. It just needs to be destroyed by battle, though, unfortunately. But you get to special summon a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck. And if you do, you get to equip this card. It gains 300 attack points. So it's not too bad. It's not a bad extender piece or anything like that. And the fact that it has a floating punishment effect, it's not too good. It's actually, it's not a bad option to consider, basically. And I'm glad it had a reprint. Next, 2 copies of Black Sun of Legend. Has 2 different effects, which you can only choose one of its effects once per turn and only once that turn. You can attribute this card, special summon a level 7 Red Eyes, well, level 7 or lower Red Eyes from your deck, except Red Eyes Beat Check, but that's already obvious. And also, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, shuffle it back to the deck, and then you can add this card back to your hand. So it's really good for recursion as well. Alright, now for the 1-ofs. I'm playing one of the new alternate art Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. I'm actually not too happy that this came out as a common. I was actually hoping for a super or even an ultra rare, but it is what it is. It does have the errata effect at least, where this card's effect is a hard once per turn now, so you have to like honor the errata effect basically. One Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, again for nostalgic purposes. And actually, this is the original card I got from the Dragon's Lair structure deck. So yes, this is the original version of the card. I'm so happy I've hung on to it. So yeah, I was able to get it back. So not too bad. And what I mean by get it back is like I couldn't remember where I had this card at. Turns out it was actually somewhere at my mom's house, and I was digging through some stuff, and I happened to find it still in one of those plastic cases, or not cases, but plastic sleeves. So happy I hung on to it and I found it. But anyway, you just need to tribute the original Red Eyes Black Dragon, special summon this card. And of course, it gets attack points for every dragon that's in your grave. But you mainly just use it for an extender piece, just to help you link line and nothing more. But if you do want it, if this monster can get huge. So if you want to use it that way, by all means, go ahead. One Flare Dragon, so it's a Gemini monster, so it's treated as a normal monster while it's face up on the field or in your grave. But when you normal summon it, it becomes an effect monster. So if damage calculation is performed involving this card in battle, at the end of the battle phase, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to this card's original attack point. So basically, it's a good way to burn your opponent. Next, one Gear Freak, the Red Eyes Iron Knight. Since, you know, Joey Wheeler likes to play a lot of Red Eyes and Gear Freak cards, basically, might as well, right? But it's also there for fusion fodder mainly, but it also has a good spell and trap card removal effect, so not too bad. Speaking of warrior monsters, I'm actually running the PK engine. Mainly just 2 Silent Boots, and that's it. Just to give you access to your Fog Blades. And what's really cool is, like, since Slash Dragon just needs a warrior monster, you'd use this as fusion fodder too. So yeah, not too bad. And for tech cards, I'm running 1 Neo Kaiser Glider. I was gonna use the Red Eyes Meteor Impact, but I decided to use this card instead, just simply because it can weaken your opponent's monsters by 500 points each. Plus, it's also good for fusion fodder, since, you know, to get the Meteor Black Comet Dragon, it just needs to be a level 6 dragon, so this card works too. So I decided this card was just a little bit more consistent than the Meteor Impact. And lastly, 1 Tempest, another key piece extender. It's also a level 7 monster, so you can special summon this card by banishing 2 dragons and go into your Red Eyes Darkness, or not Red Eyes Darkness, but your Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragons, I'm sorry. So pretty good. And that's pretty much it for the monster lineup. I'm not running hand traps in this, but I still am running plenty of disruptions at least. All right, speaking of which, 3 Called by the Grave. You are going to do quite a lot of searching, and you don't want that Red Eyes fusion to get hit, so Called by the Grave definitely helps. 3 Red Eyes Insight. Lets you dump a Red Eyes from your hand or your deck to the grave to search out another Red Eyes card. 3 Fusion, since, you know, I am running quite a few fusion monsters, so this helps. And plus, I'm also running Verite Anaconda, which lets you bypass the unfortunate restriction this card has, where you, like, if you activate this, you can't normal summon monsters, normal or special summon monsters, but you can at least still set. But again, there's a way to bypass that. We'll get to how in just a moment. 2 cards of the Red Stone, just for draw power, and it's also basically another copy of Dragon Shrine. So yeah, cards of the Red Stone, not too bad. I'm only running 2 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. Maybe I'll bump it up to 3, but I needed to make room for Dragon Ravine, since I am running Romulus. So yeah, Dragon Ravine, and then 1 Dragon Shrine. So yeah, that's it. All right. So for traps, I'm actually running 5 if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 5 traps. I did mention I'm running the Fog Blade, since, you know, it's really good for disruption. Plus, they're searchable with the Silent Boots. 2 Red Eyes Fangled Chain, also pretty neat. And the 1 copy of Return of the Red Eyes. So this card is based. I was thinking of running Red Eye Spirit, but this card is basically the same concept. The only difference is that you get to special summon normal monsters, not just Red Eyes normal monsters. And so, like, you can special summon the original Red Eyes. I was gonna plan on running Summon Skull, but decided against it. But, you know, once Dragon of Red Eyes, then this card would probably become a lot more broken. But if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 Red Eyes. It doesn't even have to be a normal anymore. You can special summon a Red Eyes from your grave. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So pretty good. It does have a nice floating effect. All right, so now moving on to the extra deck. Extra deck is 2 copies of Red Eye Slash Dragon. I figured 2 is fine, and plus it also has a built-in negation as long as it has an equip card, which granted is not once per turn, so the negation definitely works as long as your opponent targets. So it only stops targeting effects of any kind, and that's it. 1 Meteor Black Comet Dragon. I try to get this card as soon as possible, because this card's been spiking up and then dropping back down, and then it'll spike up again. Get it as low as like 25 bucks if you're able to, maybe even lower if you're lucky, but try to get it like now, because this card again will spike up from like 25 to almost 45 bucks in an instant, and people are really trying to get this card. But you just need a level 7 Red Eyes and a level 6 Dragon type monster. If this card is fusion sum, you can send a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the grave, and if you do, you inflict damage equal to half its original attack points to your opponent, so pretty good. And if this card is sent to the graveyard from the monster zone, you can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it, so it's a really good way just to bring back your Red Eyes. I'm playing 3 copies of Flare Metal Dragon. I'm running 1 of each colors like I was going to do with the original Red Eyes. It's just there to burn your opponent for damage, so your opponent has to be extra careful, and it's really not hard to turbo to like 2 or 3 of these things. So yeah, that's the only reason why I'm running it. One big eye, it's mind control. Only you actually get to keep the monster and you can actually attack with it. So now for the Link monsters, 1 Verite Anaconda. So this is where this card and Red Eyes Fusion come into play. Simo actually has a full video about what Verite Anaconda and Red Eyes Fusion interactions with it. So Red Eyes Fusion, you can use materials from your deck or your hand to the grave and send them to the graveyard, and you can special summon a Red Eyes Fusion monster. So this is where it gets tricky, because like where it says Red Eyes Black Dragon, period, you cannot normal special summon monsters. That part is separate. So the restrictions of this card is separate, where Verite Anaconda will only copy up to where the period ends before the whole restriction. Of course, Verite Anaconda also has its own restrictions, but not nearly as bad as the Fusion. Again, check out Simo's video. He has a full explanation of how this card really works, and this is why people are kind of fearing the whole Dragoon of Red Eyes thing, which again, I will change this deck drastically once that card is available. Moving on, 1 Romulus. You already know what this does, just to get you access to your Dragon Ravine, just so you can dump your Tempest faster. Since I am running the Guard Dragon package, of course, Hieratic Seal is not Guard Dragon, but it is still key. 1 Pisty, 1 LP, you know, they're all very good. 1 Surge of Skuldred to draw and fix your hand, and also gives you a free special summon. Boral Sword, another OTK win condition. And just for funsies, 1 Darkness Metal, the Dragon of Dark Steel. It's pretty good. It's basically Red Eyes Darkness Metal. The only difference that you can special summon a banished monster in defense mode, negate its effects, and also you're not allowed to link summon for the duration of this turn. So, but again, it's just a good way to get access to your Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon a little bit faster if you need to go that route. So, and plus we are going to be banishing with Tempest, so that's the whole thing with it. So yeah. All right, so that's it for the extra deck. Let's go ahead and real quick go through the side deck. Side deck's pretty self-explanatory. 3 Nibiru, 3 Token Collector, 3 Dark Ruler No More, triple Twin Twisters, and last but not least, evenly matched. And that's generally it. So no need for an explanation. It's probably one of my favorite. These are some of my favorite side cards, and yeah. All right, hopefully you guys will enjoy this, and I will catch you guys again next time.